Are you able to send me the Zoom? Unless, it might be in my calendar.
I can send it to you. I can actually invite you. Do you have it or I send it to you?
If you can send it to me, I don't
Okay.
have it.
Yep.
Could you send it to my nice email?
Yep.
This is my nice I can't get it to my Gmail. My nice Steve does not know us. That's also what I choose. I can't check my work.
Okay. Now we're talking. All right, we are recording, we are live. I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is 5:30. I apologize for the delay. So present, it looks like we have Emily Chesson, Clay Huber, Masai Cheddar, Kevin McAvoy, Roberto Rivera, Dan Smith, Karen Sullivan, Jake Strauss, and Cal Trimmer are excused. Has anyone heard from Betta? All right, Betta is absent. I am present. And we have one guest. Neshka, welcome. Did you want to make any comment for the public record?
No, just here, fly on the wall.
All right, thank you for being a fly on the wall. All right, so are there any modifications to the agenda?
Yes, I'm going to say something on energy storage.
I have you under D4 perfect. There we go, 44. All right, no other modifications. We need a review and approval of the September meeting minutes. I did give Kevin some small editorial changes that were mostly like things that need to be capitalized. I did change one word under city fleet from biodiesel to renewable diesel. And that was my changes. Does anyone else have other comments or changes?
I would say here that I provided an update on my graduate program so that I could give
I
more,
also shouldn't have that folder.
to provide CSK social media support.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? No? Okay. All right. If not, we need a motion to accept the September minutes as amended. So moved. Aaron, can I get a second?
A second.
Okay, Haya, or is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? All right, very good. Thank you, and thank you, Kevin. I know that took a bit of work, so thank you for the work that you put into putting those together. All right, refrigerants. There's no update. We are still in contract negotiation. We'll keep saying that until we are not. It's taking a long time, but that's sometimes happens with the state. Repair Cafe.
So I actually print out this MOU from Sustainable.
Can you give me one of those?
That's valid, make sure.
Everyone should have a copy of that thing.
Anybody need one?
Yes.
I did not want to just sign it. I thought we would review it as a coalition, and if you all have any reservations, or want to point anything out, this is the final agreement. There is a line in here that says if either party wants to change the agreement at any time, they can. But I would be signing it on behalf of Climate Smart, if we do approve it, and have a repair cafe this Saturday, so I figured it was the best time to review this, so. Do you sign this every year? That's a good question. I don't know the answer to.
Oh, what is that? Yes. There we go.
They could just be.
I don't think it would be, but yeah. It's between Sustainable Hudson Valley and the Kingston Repair Cafe in this case. So each sub-organizer, so like the Rhinebeck Repair Cafe, the Sopas Repair Cafe, and to give a little backstory for those that may have missed the meeting, I mentioned this months ago, but Sustainable Hudson Valley is the fiscal sponsor technically of Repair Cafe, although they don't provide much fiscal sponsorship. If you need like a certificate of insurance, or if you're a new cafe, they provide a lot of support with like a welcome kit. The big thing is that we've never had an agreement that we've had to sign or be like bound to. But their board flagged that we have all these cafes popping up now and the movement's really growing, and there should be some kind of rules and regulation involved. And one of the main things to point out in this whole thing is the financial accountability. So we are allowed to keep, they changed it to $500 in petty cash on hand, each facilitator. And then if we have more than that, we need to have it in a bank account, which would be in Sustainable Hudson Valley's name. And then I'm still a little confused, like if I then want to use the money for something, how I get that back from them. But there's another thing that if we ever apply for a grant, we would be putting in a 5% line item into any grant received for staff oversight. And then another 10% for Susie. So that's the umbrella Repair Cafe coordinator. But another piece of context for you all is that Sustainable Hudson Valley is applying for a grant for Ulster County, and they've included the Kingston Cafe. I think they gave us up to $2,000, and if they get it, then I can use that for the whole pizza coffee thing that I haven't been able to until now. So, yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of pages, and I don't know, it just feels like a document, so I didn't wanna.
So this doesn't have a termination. This is terminated until it's terminated by either party,
Yeah,
meaning it's in perpetuity.
okay,
Does this change anything that you
there's a little more reporting involved, especially financially. They would like us to make sure we're submitting all receipts and have digital copies of everything. I've kind of kept it up in my brain, and I have a money box they gave me, box, and you know, there's money in there. But now I'm gonna have to have a ledger with like an Excel sheet and be like, this cafe, we spent this much, and then we, you know, yeah. And yes, exactly. And one thing I'm confused about is like, at the cafe, there's tip jars, and so if there's like a lamp part that's used or any coach's personal things that they want replaced, I go around the room at the end and I'm like, hey, do you want any of this money? And most of the time they say no. But I have done that. So now I'm like, do I need to write out a receipt for them? So like, here's your $3 for your lamp switch. But yeah.
So the signatory on this would be you?
Yeah.
And you're looking just for our nod because it's not us signing it?
Yeah, and it's like an official, you know, memorandum of understanding. And
What would you
there's not
like
really
us
much
to
else
do?
we can
Do you want us to vote on it?
Yeah, well, I'll say the alternative is like, if you don't sign this technically, you're not like under the Repair Cafe Hudson Valley umbrella. And there are cafes that can be grandfathered in if they had a bank account set up with a church or another organization. They're allowed to like still be included in Repair Cafe and not sign this officially. But we don't have that, so yeah. They didn't really say if we'd like not be included on the calendar or like what would be the repercussions, but.
All right, so ultimately, I think that the commission should vote on this. So, Melissa, is there anything else you wanted to tell us before we?
No, I think that's all the context.
What was Susie?
Susie Frommer is the like Hudson Valley organizer. So it's like she works for Sustainable Hudson Valley and then she coordinates like a Google group. She's kind of like the new John Hackman.
That'd be, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, short and sweet. Minimally contractual legalese, but on page 2, it just calls out Susie.
Yeah.
So it just might.
Oh, it should say like
Or
Repair
she's an
Cafe Hudson Valley
organization or
coordinator, yeah.
Business.
Because if she, yeah.
Oh, okay, fair.
Do you have access to this shared drive?
I probably do. I've never seen it. I could probably get it if I want it. It is something I think also for newer cafes. They have this little welcome kit they give people.
All right, before there's more discussion, let's entertain if there's a motion, we can enter into discussion about it. Is there a motion to sign this MOU between Sustainable Hudson Valley and Kingston Repair Cafe?
Motion to sign?
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Karen? All right, so any discussion, any further discussion? Concerns? Issues, wordsmithing? All right, hearing no discussion, all in favor?
All right.
All opposed? All abstaining? All right, passed unanimously. Thank you for doing this.
Great.
Yeah.
So I'll sign that. and I'll
Please
send it
circulate a fully executed copy to us for the
Yes.
records.
I'll do that. And then, yeah, the next one is actually this Saturday, 11 to 3 at Clinton United Methodist Church in Midtown. Jake actually sent the flyer around to the whole commission. There was an update to the flyer that he missed. The sewing machine repair is going to happen this weekend. So he needs that copy with that on it. But we won't have welding and we won't have zipper repair. But other than that, we'll have our regular categories. Jake is going to be helping me now. I met with him at Rough Draft and explained everything, and he's pretty on board, so that's exciting. That's it for Repair Cafe.
Excellent.
Cool, great.
Anyone else have?
Oh, I'll just say, please promote and help people show up Saturday,
And what time is it?
11 to 3.
Great.
Is there like a virtual flyer?
Yes. I'll forward it to you. No.
Okay. Thank you very much. Moving on to outreach and education, there's nothing really substantial to report for environmental education, except I think I mentioned it in the past, but we are switching, the city is switching our program registration system from our current system, which we use that's called ActiveNet, over to a new system called RecDesk, RecDesk, one word, and it is going to go into effect January 1st. So for all environmental ed programming and all parks programming, whether you sign up for a league or a pool membership or anything related to parks, it's going to switch over to RecDesk. This is a program that has been paid for by ARPA funding. I'm the project manager in this transition. It's going to be much more effective for us. So just putting that out there. And environmental ed programming for the fall hasn't started yet, with the exception of the one class that we've already reported on here, that Oakwood Friends group that came weeks ago.
What did the Oakwood Friends people?
They came and did what's called Day in the Life of the Hudson River. It's hundreds of groups, thousands of people all along the Hudson River doing the exact same thing. They fish, gather water quality testing, chemical testing, and they do beach combing and cleanups. And we always typically host Kingston High School or middle school classes at our site every year. But this year we worked with Oakwood Friends, and they were fantastic. Good, yeah. All right, so over to Melissa for the Family Energy Expo planning.
Yeah, so we were gonna do something for Sustainable Hudson Valley's Climate Solutions Week Hudson Valley, but then we didn't feel like we had enough time or enough people on hand to plan it, so we met again and we have planned it and secured a date. It is November 9th, it's a Saturday, and I'm gonna pull up the details I have so far. So we landed on, we have a bunch of different notes and various, meeting times, just give me a sec. So yeah, it's gonna be 10 to 2:30, sorry, 10 to 1:30. Setup is 9 to 10 a.m., cleanup is 1:30 to 2:30. The Good Work Institute just sent me a contract to execute, so I have to sign that. They are not charging us for the space, which is good. And we're, what is it? We're advertising this for like 7 to 9 year olds. Older kids can come if they want, but the activities we're planning are more geared towards the younger kids. We're gonna have the solar car workshops. We're gonna have 2 sessions. They're 1.5 hours each. One session is from 10:15 to 11:45, and then the second session is 12 to 1:30. And then we're also gonna have coloring books, solar bead bracelets that they can make that change color in the sun. And then, what is it called? Cyanotypes, which are like prints that then you put in the sun to help develop. That is weather dependent. And then we're gonna have kids' activities in one room with the presentations and the workshop. And then in the other room, we're gonna have some refreshments for parents. And I'm trying to get some clean energy coaches to show up. MHET is interested. Communities for Local Power is at capacity and they can't, but they said they would love to send materials. And so we need help, I would say, in general, for people to show up. Julie can't make it that weekend day of. I'm gonna be there, I believe Haya's gonna be there, Cal's gonna be there. But we need folks to welcome people into the room and talk to parents, especially if we don't have anybody in that other room. Monitoring the refreshments and all that kind of stuff, helping with setup, helping with cleanup. So it's not just me, Haya, and Cal. So if anybody's interested, think about it, look over your schedule, and let us know. Cal is prepping a flyer, which they said should be ready tomorrow. And then we have a planning thread, so we'll look it over with Haya and Julie and then finalize that and then send it around for people to start advertising. My brain's shutting down, sorry.
Yeah, we really need like sort of like a schmoozer, like someone at the door to greet people, help them understand the space and the programming, and to kind of be like with the adults that don't want to participate in the activity and help introduce them to the different people who are representing like different energy support chats. So that's kind of like, we really need that position from somebody in the Climate Smart Kingston. Because Cal and Melissa are gonna run the solar event and I'm gonna be floating around trying to get all the kids, wrangle the kids.
Reading.
What's the day again?
November 9th.
Saturday.
I wish I could do it, but it's my kid's birthday.
Oh,
Nice.
I could do it.
That weekend.
That would be amazing,
Yeah.
especially with what you know from like NYSERDA and stuff. That's the perfect fit. Awesome.
I'm not out of state.
What?
I'll be in California.
Oh, okay.
Congrats. Cool, thank you. You could bring.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna, what?
Your daughter come?
Yeah, it's gonna be bringing June. She's
Oh,
little,
nice.
young, but she
Coding.
coloring books and stuff is fun. I'll try to convince Cindy to go. Okay. It's his birthday. It's his birthday, and there's a huge party at school. High Meadow, in Stonebridge is having their like 40th anniversary community
cool.
celebration, so.
Fun.
Yes, but
That sounds fun.
I would rather be at this. Sounds great.
It will be great.
Sounds amazing. I'm so excited it's happening.
You could publicize it with the, I don't know.
Although it'll be a conflict. So,
Oh,
because it's their big event,
There you
but
go.
maybe we could promote it to Well, really, we should probably try to target like George Washington.
Yeah, Kingston family.
Yeah.
And the neighbor lives across the street and an 8-year-old daughter at George Washington.
Okay.
Yeah, so I could like, once we have the flyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking I could definitely cover Edson for June goes. And then,
Okay, so you'll do Edson, I'll do UGW, what other schools are there?
Crosby, Chambers.
JFK,
JFK.
Edison Catholic,
Edson.
Edson,
Catholic, I know somebody was there too.
Ahar, I don't know if it's
You're
pre-K.
mentioning a lot of different ones. Okay. I had a virtual list for Repair Cafe. I was saying that we can use like with my Kingston kids and Kingston happenings, but I was gonna need help with like these kind of in-person lists. So,
The schools like has a PTO,
mhm.
that would be really fun. PTOs, or if it's,
So George Washington veterans.
yeah, I can do that, and then I have a friend whose daughter, I think, goes to Chambers.
You said Edison?
Edson, she's like 8. I have friends who go to Graves and JFK.
Oh, Julie, you're in the
Yep.
doc, okay. Correct my spelling, please.
7 to 9-year-olds, right?
I think we said we would take like, like 12-year-olds could do the activity, but after that, they might be bored or think it's like babyish.
Yeah, I think if like 14, 15-year-olds show up, we could try and match them with the younger kids if they'd be willing to do that.
Well, so then Bailey and Miller need to be on here. Because 5th grade and 6th grade would both be
Yeah.
applicable.
What's usually the best way to get to the schools,
It
Julie?
is not easy to get into the schools.
Okay, is it
Uh,
just kind of
you have to go through Central
grassroots?
and they don't let you flyer in the schools anymore, like they don't send papers home with kids.
Mhm.
So it might be I don't know if you have to go through Central anymore, it might be a case by case, like hopefully you know someone who's on the inside that can
Yeah,
put it on their parent Facebook, something.
yeah,
But there isn't like it isn't a sort of global process that it used to be.
okay.
It's hard.
Yeah, I will say we're also, we don't have a lot of the solar cars, so we're gonna cap it at 20 and do 10 for the first session, 10 for the second.
Okay.
And then we were thinking if family had multiple children, in total, we would probably get like 60 people to this event, so.
Yeah. What about the YMCA?
Yeah.
Because they have their, schools out program.
Yeah, that's on my list for the Repair Cafe.
Okay,
Yeah, so I have a contact there that,
okay,
you know,
because, yeah, it's like a lot of kids do before and after care.
and they will post flyers.
Exactly. It's tricky, like having it restricted so much, and then you're like, oh, like, what if, and you cut it off at 20 people, because if you want, usually half the people aren't gonna show up.
Yeah, and we will have the coloring books and the solar beads in a larger quantity than the 20. And what's the place with the worm in front of it?
YWCA,
YWCA.
those are pre-K.
That's pretty, yeah,
That's too little, too
That's too
little.
little. Yeah.
However, it is literally walking distance to the Good Horse Institute.
It is,
Yeah.
So
Do you-
I don't know if I would rule that out.
0 to 4.
Do you guys ever partner with places like Everett Hodge?
Which?
Yeah, the Hodge and the Ronald
Hodge
Center. Yeah, I could put flyers at the Hodge Center and the Ronald Center.
Right.
And then someone could do the Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
I haven't.
It's okay.
It's like a weird timing that we made.
Setup is 9 to 10.
Just make it straight.
And then it's 10 to 1:30 and then cleanup is 1:30 to 2:30.
And the next planning meeting is October 29th at 11 a.m.
Yes, I have that on the calendar.
Yeah, and that's more just like how's promo going? What do we need to do last minute kind of thing? We're gonna do coffee, and the Good Work Institute is gonna let me know how many like mugs they have, so we can do reusable mugs, then we'll have to run the dishwasher at the end, which is also why we need people to clean up. If not, we'll have to just buy the cups. And we're just gonna do like refreshments, like granola bars and fruit. That's everything, I think.
Very good. Okay, anyone have anything else on that event? Any amount of help in any way from folks day of or beforehand is helpful. Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. All right, moving on to clean electricity work. This carbon neutral project, I had a meeting scheduled today at 3:00 and my sort of folks didn't show.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Can I go talk to her boss?
I'm not gonna mention
Yeah,
the
thanks.
person, but I was ghosted for sure.
Oh, no. Sorry, that happened to you.
That's all right.
Hopefully there's a good excuse.
Hopefully, it's okay. And in the meantime, I will say, since the energy modeling came back substantially higher in cost estimate than the amount of money I have. The amount of money I have total is 3 million. The total estimate for both projects is 24 million. So it's 8 times higher than the amount I have.
I'm so sorry, I missed, what are you talking about?
This is decarbonizing City Hall
Okay.
and Annie Murphy Center.
Both buildings.
Both buildings.
Okay,
Yep.
and
This is-
24 million?
I have a $1.8 million grant from NYSERDA, which is being matched with city funding to make it a $3 million project grant. The first phase was doing an energy modeling and audit of both buildings to understand what needs to be done to be carbon neutral. Those cost estimates combined are $24 million. 8 times the amount of money that I have. So I have put in a request to a private foundation, not to be named yet, that is considering funding one of the 2 buildings. And so hopefully that will be successful. But if not, I have to be on hold to understand what I need to do next, because I'm not gonna, well, I guess I could move forward with design, but I can't move forward with anything until I have a go, no-go decision from NYSERDA.
Yeah.
So I was hoping to advance that today, but anyway, that's where we are, and I will keep.
How does the EPA grant fit into this, or does it?
So we decided not to apply for the EPA grant. That was what I did discuss at the last meeting. We did make the determination, even though we had received technical assistance and we're working through the whole process and had multiple meetings per week on it, we decided that we were trying to force a square project into a round funder. And so it was too long of a shot. We didn't have our details that we did together. So in the meantime, the group of us which is myself and folks from Minutes and Energy Transition, that were working on the Thermal Energy Network grant that we were going to apply to EPA, decided to take a step back. And we now are having bi-weekly, meaning every other week, strategy meetings. And we just started 2 weeks ago, but really just going back to the very beginning of ground zero. What is a thermal energy network? What do we want to do? Who needs to be at the table? What technical assistance do we have available? What communities have done this or are thinking about it? So we're going to spend about half a year of bi-weekly meetings, inviting technical assistant folks to come to our meetings, inviting, folks from Troy who are working on this, folks from Saranac Lake who are working on this, folks in New York City that have done thermal energy networks, geothermal experts, all different folks to come and meet with us, possible funders. Dan and Kevin, I just, I'll send you both a note. I know that you have some interest in this. If you want to participate in these meetings, or at least know where they are, or follow our scoping documents, you certainly can. And so that is what's happening now, and that reps in Thermal Energy Network also. So we're having these bi-weekly scoping meetings Wednesdays from 3 to 4 p.m. on Zoom, and the 10th, the 30th is the next one. And they can be open to anyone, and I'm happy to circulate the information about them.
Do you have any interest in learning about other states, or you want to focus more on New York?
Yes,
I have some good friends who are like old colleagues, they're in Massachusetts, and they might know.
yes, that would be
towns in
great.
Massachusetts, I can text them.
That would be perfect.
Boston, I did that, yeah, exactly. They work for it's like the Metro Area Planning Commission for Boston, so
Nice.
they would probably know.
That would be great.
Seeing as you're kind of held up on the big ticket item,
Yep,
but you have some cash on hand to spend down,
yep,
you could just keep pushing along the engineering
yes,
and design.
Yep.
You go and probably utilize.
Yeah.
That program, and
Yeah.
there's another program, advanced buildings.
Yes.
And I think both of them could work, one or the other.
yep. So once I get the way that my starter contract is set up is that for every phase, I can't move forward until I get a go from them, and I don't have that go yet, to go past phase 1, which was the audit. So I'm waiting on that, and then the next will be design, and I have enough money to do design, so. That's where we are, so, just in terms of our next couple meetings, we've done quite a bit of scoping in just 2 meetings so far. On the meeting on the 10th, we're welcoming Dylan Turek from Troy and possibly Katrina Glenn. She's been invited from Saranac Lake, so that's gonna be like municipal representatives. On the 13th, we've invited Tom Bourgeois, who works for PACE, and he's providing some technical assistance. Then we're gonna bring in our following meeting, developers from Rupco, Zero Place, and the Metro, who have all done geothermal. The following meeting after that will be representatives from universities like Bard, Vassar, and Skidmore, who have done geothermal. Then we're gonna bring in contractors that have worked on it, then municipal utilities, and so this is all like due diligence stuff. So,
Exciting.
it's exciting.
If you want any more brainstorming on nuts and bolts, we've been in all those mechanical rooms like here in Amy Murphy, but not since we had the refrigeration on. So, and I just wrapped the bar library one, that was like
Yes,
a $9 million
Then I will-
building retrofit.
and I will
All the
invite you
paint is
to,
still fresh, so if you want all
Yes.
those experiences and nuts and bolts.
perfect. And you will be invited to the contractors meeting that is all about nuts and bolts. Actually, you can come to all of them if you want to. but-
I've been looking around on the satellite too, just kind of as I drive through the town, just thinking about where wells could go, how you can connect the network.
Awesome. So I do plan on, I'll loop Kevin, you and Dan and Brad in with no expectation whatsoever, just an FYI. That this is going on. And run the meetings.
Now, are we calling it a TENS meeting?
TENS.
We did the last one? Okay.
Yep. 10 scoping, 10 strategy meetings.
Kicking around loose was a DOA funding for the fire station?
Yes, that was awarded.
Ah,
So that was, I thought that we reported that in the last.
I mentioned it. I don't
The
know
one
if
with
I-
Siemens? Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned it was a.
Okay,
It was very conditional.
okay, yes, this one here, oh yeah, you said you reported on it, you can now
Yeah,
say it was
yeah.
awarded.
Yeah, the whole thing was conditional case. 'cause
Yes.
it was- I wasn't really sure.
Yep.
What was
Yes.
gonna transpire. Okay.
That was awarded,
Very
so
good.
there's a lot of things in play, which is great, but, there's not a lot of communities that have done this, so kind of like organics, we're kind of championing this process. And this is a much larger investment with much more infrastructure, so. So that's where that is. Municipal solar installations, there have not been any movement since the last time. There seems to be some staffing, rearrangements at multiple of our installers, so there seems to be some delay in moving forward on the permitting. So I have nothing else to report on that one. And I will then pass it over to Emily for battery storage.
Okay, cool.
And let me make you a co-host so that you can share stuff.
Okay, so I'm going to be giving just a brief presentation, providing an overview of the energy storage order that was issued in June of this year from the Public Service Commission, and basically lays out kind of the goals for the energy storage market in New York over the next 6 years, and some of the, like, outlines kind of some of the implementation with more of the details coming. Basic overview, so as I said, June of this year, the Public Service Commission issued the energy storage order. And so they've updated the energy storage target for New York State to 6 gigawatts by 2030. And so that's basically expanding the existing target. The old target was 3 gigawatts, so it's expanding it by an additional 3 gigawatts of energy storage. And so the new target comes with new funding. And so NYSERDA is the entity that's responsible for implementing the order and the incentives. So I will next go through how it's structured. So there's basically 2 programs, the way you can think of it, for energy storage in New York. One is going to be focused on the wholesale market. So bulk storage is another way it's referred to. And so that's focused on energy storage projects. So this could be lithium ion battery energy storage, but it can also be other technologies as well, like vanadium flow or iron air or compressed gas. There's like a lot of different energy storage technologies out there. The thinking is that a lot of them initially will be lithium ion, but the state is looking to support other technologies, particularly long duration storage technologies. So anyway, one component of it is the wholesale bulk storage. And so those would be projects that will be connecting directly into the transmission network and participating in NYSERDA's wholesale energy market. And so the goal is for 3,000 megawatts or 3 gigawatts of the 6 gigawatts to come from the wholesale bulk storage projects. And so there is 1.3 to 2.94 billion dollars estimated to go towards that. So then the second part of the program is focused on retail or distributed storage. So these are projects that can be installed on site at a building. They could be behind the meter. So to support energy needs of the actual building if power was to go out, or if you were trying to be like more off-grid, or they could be set up front of the meter so that they would be providing electricity directly to the grid. There's a few different, so these are going to be projects that are going to be kind of connecting directly through the utility. So this would be like a project, if you were doing a retail storage project, you'd be submitting your applications through, for us, with Central Hudson Gas and Electric, and be connecting with them. And so there's $675 million of funding set aside for 1.5 gigawatts, 1,500 megawatts of retail distributed projects. And so that includes commercial projects, non-residential projects, and community storage projects. And then there's a separate $100 million of funding for residential storage projects for up to 200 megawatts of residential storage projects. So this is kind of how the order kind of sets the stage for what's going to happen over the next 6 years with energy storage. So there's the wholesale market side, and then there's the retail market side. So just a little bit more about the retail and residential projects. So they're going to be supported through a per kilowatt hour capacity-based incentive. It's going to be similar to the megawatt hour block incentives that were funded by the previous order. There's going to be a maximum incentive cap for retail projects. They cannot be above 5 megawatts at 4-hour duration or 20 megawatt hours. So this is just a screenshot of the dashboard of the retail storage incentives from the previous incentive program that was available. This has now all been exhausted, and so there's going to be new funding coming out, but it's meant to function pretty similarly. And if you're familiar at all with like NYSERDA solar PV and My Sun incentive, it's kind of a similar idea where they basically come out with different incentives for different parts of the state, and then also different segments of the market. So this is just a snapshot of the commercial retail storage incentive dashboard. And so they had 4 blocks. So this one right here, we're looking at the rest of states. That's basically all of the state except for New York City and Long Island, different, but all the states except for New York City. And this is the commercial storage incentives that were available, and they set it up so that there were 4 blocks, and each block had a different amount of funding available. And so this first block that became available was basically if you as the developer submitted your project information to NYSERDA and like reached the milestones, and you got in at that block, you were guaranteed to receive $350 per kilowatt hour of electricity produced by that system. And so that was an incentive that you basically would receive as a developer, and they basically set the blocks up so that they're worth a total amount of dollars for each block. And so kind of the earlier you get in, the better, and then the blocks kind of usually decline over time. But as you can see, sometimes they're a little bit different. But it's meant to be set up the same way where you as the energy storage developer will apply for the incentives at NYSERDA. You'll get into a certain block. It will be a certain dollar per kilowatt hour amount that you'll receive for the capacity of your project. And in the retail program, no project can be above 5 megawatts. If you're going to be trying to develop a project above 5 megawatts, you would then need to be interconnecting into the wholesale program, or participating in the wholesale program and interconnecting within the NYSERDA utilities. So this is a little bit more about the bulk storage projects. So they're going to be funded through an incentive mechanism called an index storage credit. This is new. New York's never done this before. It's similar in function to the index renewable energy credit, which is currently the incentive that utility scale solar and wind projects get. The right-hand side is kind of a graph trying to demonstrate how this works in practice. I'll try to talk it through in words and then go back to the graph. So basically, you as a storage developer, so NYSERDA will run a solicitation, a competitive request for proposal. They will ask developers to come to them with their projects. The projects will have to meet certain like maturity level requirements. When the developers submit their proposals will kind of have the qualitative aspects of the projects, but then they'll also include a bid price of how much they're gonna tell NYSERDA they need to make their projects economically viable, like the amount of additional money they need. And that amount of additional money they need is called the strike price. And this is now the index storage credit strike price. And the strike price, what it really represents for the developer, it actually represents the all-in cost that that developer needs per megawatt hour of electricity that that project produces to make the project economically viable for them. So just throwing out numbers, the developer might do their economic modeling and say, okay, for this project to work, I need an extra $100 per megawatt hour of electricity that this and battery storage project is going to send into the grid. So I'm going to bid into NYSERDA and tell them I need 100 megawatt hours. So all the developers will come in and bid their projects with their strike prices. And basically, if these projects are eventually awarded contracts with NYSERDA, these index storage credit contracts with NYSERDA, the way it ends up working in practice is they're saying, this is the all-in price that I need to make my project pencil. Eventually, when those projects start generating, sending power into the grid, basically, from the batteries, what NYSERDA will do is they'll look at, for every month, for every month, they basically look at like, okay, this project says they needed $100 per megawatt hour. We're gonna look at like, how much money did that project actually make from the wholesale market? We're gonna look at how much they were paid for energy, which is the literal dollars you get paid for the megawatt hours of electricity that get sold into the electric grid. And then they're also could be getting paid for capacity, which is basically for them being available if the NYSO tells them they need them. They get paid for that as well. So they basically take that like $100 and they subtract from it how much those projects were paid for energy and how much those projects were paid for capacity. And there's formulas that are used to kind of come up with reference prices for the month. So they take that strike price minus how much energy revenues they received, minus how much capacity revenues they received. And if they lost money, so basically, let's say they received $50 for energy and $20 for capacity, so that's $70. So there's $30 that they didn't receive. Then NYSERDA will pay them that $30. So at the end of the day, the project is whole and it's economically viable. And that happens every single month, and they sign a 20-year contract with NYSERDA.
Wow.
So for 20 years, they're guaranteed to be whole. And the price this is how the rec market works in New York right now. I'm not going to try to describe to you guys how the energy arbitrage price is calculated. I could, we might be here for a while. But this is all in the order. If you want to learn more about how these formulas actually work, you can go read about it in the order. But this is how it works right now with utility scale wind and solar and offshore wind projects who receive renewable energy credits from NYSERDA. And they're called index because they're basically indexed to the energy capacity prices so that these projects are basically not being overcompensated, but they're also not being undercompensated. And there's a bullet, the second to last bullet says that if there's actually times where the developers might actually end up having to pay NYSERDA because they might say, we need $100, right? And energy prices might be really high or capacity prices might be really high. So maybe they bring in $120 that month. So then they owe NYSERDA $20. Yeah. So that's kind of how the incentive is structured to try to reduce kind of financial risk on the developers, but it's all based on like what they bid, right? So if they are off on their financial projections and we have unheard of inflation, it might still not work out for them in the long run, or supply chain issues or whatever. So anyway, the plan is for there to be 3 solicitations that NYSERDA would do annually. Right now, the plan is for at least 20% of awards will be for long duration energy storage. So that's looking at 8-hour plus batteries. Lithium ion batteries are usually 4 hours. So, and there's more information on kind of the potential outline of how these storage procurements will work. But the first one is supposed to come out by June of 2025. So that'll be the first time that the state has done this.
Question.
Yeah.
Trying to understand power storage. So, like, thinking about like one of these 8-hour plus batteries.
Yeah.
Like, so that's full. It's storing the power. Does it sit there until there's an emergency, or when does that power? get
Not
used?
necessarily. It kind of depends on the business model that the developers decided, which is gonna like make it its most money. So it could just be dispatching electricity at times when power prices are highest, so they would make as much money as possible.
So there's a certain amount of time that it does sit in the battery.
Yeah.
How long on that? Years?
No, not years. They wouldn't make enough money to just sit there for years, but there will be often like there's certain hours of the day where they're going to send their electricity in the grid. And for batteries that are charging directly from the grid, there's certain hours of the day that they're going to charge from the grid because that's how, so they might charge from the grid during the night because that's usually when power prices are lowest. And then the electricity might sit there for a bunch of hours. And then we have like peak hours where there's a lot more electricity demand, and so power prices are higher. And so they would then dispatch their electricity dispatch means send their electricity into the grid during those hours to receive as much money as possible. And then there's other like markets that they can participate within the electricity sector, so they could get paid for, I don't know, just like different needs that the grid operator might have. That's different ways for them to make money as well.
Also, when there's like power outages and storms and brownouts and blackouts, you can use battery storage.
Yeah, so they could like be participating in some sort of program with the grid operator so that they're being dispatched during those outages. If they want the electricity on the lines, sometimes they don't want the electricity on the lines if there's issues.
They're probably gonna wanna operate kind of like a peaker plant.
Yes,
Like,
that's
if
exactly,
they were
that's
gas
what they're meant to
plant,
do.
they're-
That's what they're meant to do, and that's the hope is that, thank you for saying that, the hope is that a lot of these batteries that will come online will take the role of peaker plants and will help with these peaker plants that the state is trying to shut down. Most of them are down in the New York City area.
And they exist because prices are really profitable when you're that last bit of peaker energy, so.
Yeah.
That's the impetus, is
And we have,
getting rid of the incentive for gas plants to keep playing that role with the batteries do that.
yeah. So there are some, say like locational requirements or goals associated with the order. So the order does reflect the Climate Act requirements of at least 35% with a target of 40% of the benefits be allocated to disadvantaged communities in New York. And at least 35% of residential and on-site retail projects must be located in a DAC census tract. New York State undertook like a very comprehensive process to identify disadvantaged communities in New York. There's a map available on NYSERDA's website. I believe your organization is probably involved with the Climate Justice Working Group, which helped establish the DACs. But I believe Kingston is a DAC, most of it. There's a portion, there's like one small portion that's not, yeah.
Except for the lowest income part. Not outrageous.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if the way that whole process is done made a lot of sense, but
Yeah, we've requested a waiver, it's been denied, they said they're reevaluating using updated data every couple of years,
Yeah.
so it could change.
who do you have to get the change from?
There's no waivers granted.
But I mean, who did you?
Through
Yes.
The mayor petition, I don't know who it states.
Well, anyway, there's also some locational requirements related to kind of geography and how the transmission grid is set up. So for bulk front of the meter retail projects, they're looking to procure at least 35% of that capacity in NISO zones G through K. So this is a map of the NISO load zones. So G, Lower Hudson Valley, New York City, and Long Island. So I believe we are in G. So I wouldn't be surprised if developers are knocking on the doors to site in this area, if they're not already. And then at least 30% has to be in zone J and at least 5% in zones G, H, I, or K. And so a lot of this is trying to incentivize development downstate to try to relieve the requirements of the buildings.
How much space is needed?
Depends on the technology. For lithium ion batteries, I believe it's an acre a megawatt. I think it's an acre a megawatt. I could be wrong though.
It seems big. Usually it's like acre per megawatt DC of solar.
Let me get back to you on the conversions for how much land you need for.
Batteries.
Batteries.
Solar.
Yeah,
And batteries have to be on the ground?
Yes, they're usually located on the ground. I mean, if you're I'm thinking bulk storage ones. If
Yeah.
you're doing retail ones, then I think they do not have to necessarily be on the ground.
So they
They
can
can
be
be
like on a-
associated to a building. They can be attached to the side of a building. I don't know about roofs. Not sure.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be lithium ion batteries.
No.
If somebody was clever, like in Europe, like they're using old mine shafts and you fill them with compressed air,
Yeah.
use geological structures,
Mm-hmm.
compressed air, and then when you need it, you release compressed air. Spin turbine.
Yeah, there's developers trying to do that in the US. They're going after old mines. So those are some of the locational requirements. There's also some requirements on prevailing wage. Projects 1 megawatt AC or larger, they are subject to prevailing wage requirements in New York. And basically all projects that are looking to receive funding from this new slot of incentives have to be in service by 2030, by the end of 2030, unless they get extension. So in terms of next steps, NYSERDA has to submit implementation plans. The residential and retail program implementation plan was already submitted. So that is available, and basically that goes into like a lot more detail about how the programs are gonna operate, and when incentives will become available. The bulk storage implementation plan, I'm not sure if they submitted it on October 18th. They might have asked for an extension, but if it wasn't October 18th, it will be very soon. And so they both have or will be uploaded to the case on energy storage. And I didn't talk about it, but there were a couple fires last summer in New York. Some lithium ion batteries did catch on fire. No one was hurt. The emergency plans were followed. There were basically issues with the installation. It wasn't necessarily the technology itself. And so the state put together a fire safety working group to try to identify problems and come up with recommendations to try to, make everyone feel safe when it comes to batteries. So they they did come up with a set of recommendations, which were issued, I think, in the spring. And so the implementation plans are incorporating those recommendations. And yeah,
What size?
Yeah.
Like 80 by
they,
80?
no, they were not an e-bike,
Giant.
they were large
Giant.
battery installations.
And some of them you have to let burn, so.
Yeah, exactly.
NYCP works with a lot of communities to help support renewables, and battery storage is one of them, but there's a lot of fear right now and opposition
Yeah.
against them, and municipalities are putting in moratoriums to like freeze any sort of companies coming into their towns because of fires are the biggest like concern of theirs. Which is just like any other fire, and no one's died, so.
Usually these projects are cited, the ones that have caught on fire, they were larger batteries and they were not cited like near homes or anything, but like, no, you're gonna put, people don't wanna put in energy. People are concerned about putting battery storage, you know, at a hospital or a school to provide critical backup services with, you know, these fires that have happened. At the end of the day, it's still a very, very safe technology. Issues, and so working it out. But yeah, there's a lot of moratoriums going across the state for batteries. The lithium-ion batteries.
I think I did read something like this is a tangent, but one of the benefits of AI, feared in other ways, was somebody is using it to run iterations of runaway lithium-ion
Yeah.
batteries. So it's like if you have like a little plug-in that can sense that and immediately pulls a breaker, and
Yeah,
so have fires, find solutions to
Yep.
stop fires.
so that's all I have. That was somewhat helpful and not super wonky.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions for Emily or comments?
Yeah, I have a question. Can you hear me?
You can?
Yeah.
Is hydrogen under these guidelines, is hydrogen storage considered energy storage as well?
Good question. I need to go back and check the order and see if it's included as one of the eligible technologies.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you very much, Emily. Is there any action that you think we should be taking as a commission or a city on this?
I just wasn't sure. I know the city has like a renewable energy goal. I wasn't sure how that plan, I might be calling it the wrong thing, but I wasn't sure how the plan factors in energy storage if at all.
We're working on that.
From like a resiliency perspective, just because since there are these new incentives coming out, like developers are going to be looking to do projects, because there weren't incentives for a while in New York, they all dried up, so there wasn't as much development going on, so whether there's like on-site energy storage that the city wants to consider for any city operations or like critical facilities or something like that, for when there's outages to provide electricity needs. I don't know what the city's planning has been on that kind of from a resiliency perspective. There might be opportunities to engage developers on that. So like if there is some interest, I don't know, like the city could consider doing some sort of like request for proposal or something like that out to the development community, see what type of, with maybe a couple buildings or something like that included, see what type of proposals you might get back from developers. Depending on what the needs are of those, depending on what the needs are of the city. I'm still new, so I don't necessarily know like what happens in the case of major storm and providing, a safe place where community members can go, what the electricity situation is for those types of situations, power does go out.
Right now, our designated emergency shelter is the Andy Murphy Center, and we have no battery storage
So I mean,
or generator.
that might be something to consider, like if you could get a
Yeah,
4
it is
hour
part of the decarbonization project.
project.
Yeah.
The way the incentives usually work is like this earlier round of them is a higher value, so it's kind of like the sooner you get in, the lower cost it will be for the developers, but they're still gonna be, they're gonna keep working until, they're gonna take as much money of that as possible, you know, but
Right.
it might be something to consider. Or just if you know, I don't know of any off the top of my head, I would wanna like endorse any companies, but even just, I don't know, just informal phone calls, I don't know, see what's going on within the C9 market.
Do you know if they're getting like novel and out there, like old water towers out of service, or like old gas bulk storage that's
Yeah, I mean, I do
using
know,
those?
yeah, like I do know that like that is a business model. There are like generator stations that are closing in the city, or have closed. And so there are companies who have ownership stake in some of those generators who are looking to make them into just large batteries, which will provide electricity as needed. Arthur Kills, I think, is one of them, the company battery. Down in the city, what's it called? Arthur Kills. And then also I think what's the other large one in the city. I think it's Rise Light and Powers.
Ravenswood?
Ravenswood, yeah, there's plans for that to be large battery. And I think that's tied to the offshore wind projects as well.
Oh, that's near the Fresh Hill site.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not been there.
So, yeah, and then also just to your point on like compressed air, there are companies going out and like looking at old lines. We have them in New York. So,
Just thinking about like Kingston, you got like old water towers that are just
Yeah.
sitting there, but empty, but haven't been reused, you can use
We
those.
don't have a water tower, we do have caves.
They would be like mines, you know, like
Wait,
natural caves.
So these are mines we have not.
Mines.
Like I know the,
Think about it.
I know the
What resources
county.
you got.
Yeah, I know the county did like I don't know what the county or the city's policy necessarily is on batteries or energy storage technologies, but like I know that there was this like effort to do the solar PV mapping for the county. We're trying to, and that's still happening, like I don't know if energy storage is a bit of a different animal, obviously. But I don't know.
Nana wanted people to include that in their report, but not utility scale. Large scale.
Not large scale.
Yeah, we have a section of our report that we are working on it. Brad is taking the lead on that part, so not sure how that is built out yet.
Emily, have you come across the Glide Path battery storage site in your travel? That was in the town of, proposed to the town of Ulster, that's 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
First as a peaker plant, and then they switched their story, it was gonna be just battery storage. And then COVID came, it looked like a plug was pulled, no pun intended.
Definitely pun intended.
Was the plug pulled? No, I don't know. They still own the site. They were having discussions, they had an open space component, they had discussions on that with a number of the land trusts, and all of that just disappeared. Literally fell off the table. They're from Chicago,
Okay.
or just west of Chicago in the suburbs.
Okay. Excellent conversation. Thank you, Emily, for your insight and knowledge.
Yeah.
All right. If it's okay, we'll move on from there. CCA, Community Solar Campaign. Still pushing community solar. CCA has not been approved yet, but Manhattan Energy Transition did launch a loan fund. And they're doing home upgrade grants, lots of other things as part of what will be our CCA. So there's not like we're sitting around waiting, although we are sitting around waiting for approvals, but just for the bulk purchase. But there are lots of different initiatives that are happening for residents. And you can keep up to date on that at Engage Kingston. And it was an energy transition, and hopefully they'll be at our event. Where kids all event. Thanks. On our solar siting report, so that's what Emily was just talking about, the municipal renewable energy implementation plan. It's about, I would say, 80% done. So Phil and Brad and I are working on it. I just made a note to check in on how the battery storage section is going. We are actually working on it in earnest, and we had hoped to have it done by the 18th, but we met on the 18th and found several more things we wanted to add. Phil's doing some mapping. So I hoped to have a draft to you all by the end of this month. I still hope to have a draft to you all by the end of this month. And so I will circulate that when I have it. And as a whole, it seems as though, so Phil called me today and said, I think technically we could fit enough, if we put solar on every single rooftop that exists in the city of Kingston, which obviously would never happen. If we did, we would have enough space to cover all of our power, he's saying. But that would never happen. So we are certainly looking at all our recommendations include other things like energy efficiency and storage and community solar and other solutions on how we're going to get there. So I would keep an eye out for that. Hopefully I'll have it to you within the next 2 weeks for you all to take a look at. And that's all I have on that topic. Well, Roberto, do you have anything with clean hydrogen? Oh yeah, you guys have the letter. So clean hydrogen, I'll hand it over to you, Roberto and Kevin.
The letters are here. One.
I'll take one copy, you take it first.
Take the clip. And the other one, Proton, one more.
Yep.
There's actually 2 pages, there's 2 different colors. The letter is pretty basic. Roberta provided me with the language and the contacts, and I just typed it up.
Which one are we looking at first? Just go.
So I will just mention that I discussed this with the mayor so that he wasn't caught up totally off guard, and just in case he doesn't want to advance with hydrogen. He said he is not opposed to exploring the technology. He did say that he doesn't think it makes sense for the city to do it alone and not as part of working with the county or DEP and the county. And that the collective shared services of the county or other larger entities could certainly be considered, and that he's fine with us doing this research and due diligence, but that it's not likely that he would move forward with any procurement just on city level. So I don't know if that changes any of the approach here.
I have a suggestion for a partnership. It's the Environmental Defense Fund. They have something called Climate Corps. It's where they basically hire MBA students to work with a city or an entity, a partner, to advance their sustainability goals. So if the city of Kingston wanted to become a host for this fellowship program, it'd be matched with a current grad, like an MBA student or graduate student working in sustainability. And you could say this is the project you want their help with. And the fellowship like pays for their time, gives them resources and network. But you could potentially be matched with somebody, a graduate student who's interested in this technology and wants to explore what it means to implement it. Like that's exactly the type of stuff they do.
What's the organization?
It's Environmental Defense Fund. I don't know anything about it, except that I'm gonna apply for the fellowship and I'm looking into it.
It's a really good program.
Oh, you know about it? Oh, good. Can you tell us more?
It's basically what you said,
Okay.
like it's, they run like an application process for students to apply and they interview them and then based on the student's interests and then I don't know how you become,
A
a
host.
host.
Yeah. It's,
I only know how it works on the student end, right? From when I was in graduate school, but,
They get paid?
yeah,
The
the
fellows
fellows paid very well
generously.
through EDF and like EDF, Environmental Defense Funds, the way the program is set up for the students at least is you have like an onboarding period through, it's like a curriculum basically, so they bring like all the students together for a few days in some location. And they like basically like teach them and go through like softwares and stuff that they will need to support the clients that they've been hired for. So it's kind of like a training and capacity building and networking thing. And then you go out to your hosts, so you're there for the summer and you have to have like a real project. And then you're like presenting the results at the end. If that's not gonna happen, then we would not get selected as a host. And then, I don't know if this, I think if the students come back at the end maybe and do something, I forget, but, and then you're, as the student, you're part of this network. So it's been going on, I think, for like a decade now at least, so there's, for over a decade, I guess. So, yeah, and you get paid well and you're there for the summer and then you go back to where you came from.
After you make a meaningful impact.
After you make a meaningful, and some people get jobs out of it. I have friends who did it and got jobs with and they have a mix of municipalities. So, and then they also have private entities. So like you could go work with Coca-Cola and their sustainability department, or you could be with the city of Kingston.
Are we gonna have another meeting? Like, we're gonna have a November meeting.
Yes, we have to talk about when, but yes.
Okay. Maybe I could put together a proposal. Would that be a conflict of interest though, because I wanna apply to be your student?
Well, I guess,
You have to get selected by Climate
If they
Corps.
selected, like,
Climate
could I
Corps will
help, could I
select you,
help
the city
Climate
will.
Corps become a host, and then could I apply to become your fellow? Is this allowed? You really have to make your
My
own
experience
destiny.
of doing it was, because I did get selected to do it, I didn't end up doing it, and I got put with a city
Yeah.
in Texas.
Oh my gosh.
So I didn't have, I had like selected the interest of being with the public entity, I didn't want to be with a private entity.
Right.
And then they were just like, you've been selected.
Right, it
And
seems
you're now
like-
paired with this city, and they gave me a little summary of like what my project was gonna be.
So maybe I could put together, I could provide you guys information on what it means to be a host, what it could mean to apply, and then maybe we could come up with a project and ask for a fellow who could help us do something.
Is that tied to this hydrogen thing? Because
Kind of, it was in response to the mayor wanting a partner.
Yeah.
To think about.
well, when he said partner though, he means like, he didn't mean, I need somebody besides Julie to be working on this. He
Yeah.
meant, we're not doing this unless it's with the county.
Oh,
It doesn't make sense to invest in
Right.
that kind of infrastructure if you don't have like a lot of
A
other.
lot of profit.
Yeah, like
brings me
economies
like
of
my
scale.
comments I want to make.
Yeah, that's a problem
Yeah, okay.
generally.
Yeah, I think the way this is worded, I feel like it's not what we've been talking about. We've been talking about feasibility, looking into the technology. This is like, it says,
Yeah.
we are going to do feasibility with our municipal fleet. And that, we want the city of Kingston to have fuel cell autos for our project. It's like very specific things we're asking. So I think we need to just decide like what really are we wanting to do as Climate Smart Kingston. It seems like the mayor doesn't want us to do that, you know, and then from there, do we want to apply for interns or research people to help with whatever that is? But like, what are we specifically doing with hydrogen?
He's fine with us exploring and understanding more about the technology, what it would look like, you know, what options there could be. But he's not going to invest in the technology for 2 or 3 cars, or even just our fleet. It would have to be like, the county and the city both go into something and they have some cars, we have some vehicles. And the fueling station is a collective that both they and we use.
That makes sense.
So. Does that change what let's look at these one at a time.
Yeah, when I drafted this, I want, you know, the language, you know, but it's not in cement, let's put it that way.
Okay, so I mean, what is, the current ask of Proton is,
Knowledge, you wanna know what they're doing.
this
I feel like
is
the
the
first
current
one
ask
asked
that we
was
should
a little
do.
bit more, okay, like I felt like that was a little bit more.
Well, it says we are seriously considering exploring H2 to play a part in the operation of our municipal fleet. That part, I feel like is not
Yeah, too specific.
kosher. That's what I feel. I don't know what you guys feel. You all.
Yeah, I would say that we are not seriously considering it, we are exploring.
Exploring.
Yes,
Maybe we
Just
just
needs to be
say,
solid.
and also, do we have to say we want it for our municipal fleet? Could it be, we're exploring H2 fueling systems, and we understand you're a leader.
Yeah, that's all good to me. Roberta, are you there?
Berter, if you're speaking, you're on mute. If you're there.
The other thing is, when you mentioned EDF, I've looked EDF up, they have a lot of comments on hydrogen, including green hydrogen. Some of them are not good.
Yeah.
So, the bottom line, I think where they're going is made, managed, and used properly. I think that's the operative word. Hydrogen can bring real climate benefits, but if too much hydrogen escapes, emissions could reduce the climate benefits relative to fossil energy. Especially in the near term. Thinking with the near term, it's saying that it's, the infrastructure isn't there, and the whole program isn't fully developed. Except in a couple of parts of the country, I think notably Pacific Northwest and California, it's somewhat developed, but not to where it's.
Maybe that's what we could use with Proton Energy. Like, we want their knowledge and expertise in order to understand.
Exactly.
In order to basically counter that.
That was the original idea. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, you can hear me, good.
So maybe let's just go back to that.
Just make the corrections. And am I understanding, Julie, that in order to even embark on this, that we would have to sort of partner with the county, right?
No, I'm not saying that necessarily. I'm saying that and it doesn't have to be the county, but there would have to be some sort of
Another entity.
another entity, yes.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that we can't do the research on our end.
No, I
understand
think-
what that would look like.
No, I think we should, proceed to do the research and to try and get as much understanding and knowledge of the technology as we can.
And also meet with other counties, municipalities to see if this is something they're exploring or what what they're considering. And just creating that database of knowledge about it.
Okay, so,
And are we still, should we still approach Toyota and Proton, right? Both? I need to see if, I mean, it's possible that Toyota or Hyundai may not be in a position to, to lease automobile or hydrogen fuel cell automobile. They haven't come to the East Coast yet. I mean, I don't know why, but apparently this is not happening yet. So I I think we should reach out to Toyota as well, just to find out whether it would it,
I
it
don't,
would it would be available. We should reach out to both Proton and Toyota to see if it was possible or there was availability of leasing hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, and to Proton in order to to see the process, to go to Connecticut and to look at their operation. What do you guys think?
let's talk about one at a time. So as far as Proton goes, Emily, you brought up a document here.
so yes, so this is the draft, this is the draft letter that Kevin sent in the email yesterday.
Right.
So I just made some changes,
Okay.
which I think softens the language a little bit, to just say, to try to make it a little bit more about exploratory.
I would change the word can to might.
Uh,
So rule H2 might play.
Take out municipal fleet and say within the Kingston municipality or.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay to say
Oh,
fleet, 'cause
okay.
So this is basically just saying, like, I think we're exploring it.
Right.
That we're hoping to learn more from you all, since you're a leader. This is like, and again, I mean, I think you could just say we're requesting a visit.
Mhm.
And I look forward to hearing from you. To me, that's like pretty non-committal, soft, exploratory.
I mean, is there a reason that we wouldn't also want to just invite someone from Proton to like come to one of our Connersart meetings and be on a call?
That would be
Anybody know anyone that's Proton?
But
I mean, just to give us a primer on like what it even is, what we might even.
Well, he's sending this to Kathy Amos years.
That might be an easier ask than requesting to go to the facility in Connecticut, just to actually get a.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we
friendly
should start with
business,
that.
Chat.
We could probably just do something over Zoom too.
Well, that's what I'm saying, they could zoom into one of our Connersart meetings.
Yeah.
Okay, Roberto, how do you feel about that? Roberto, you're on mute if you're talking.
if we can.
We lost you. You still there? You're muted.
Hello, can you hear me?
Can hear you now.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, that would be great if we can get somebody to present, and if the presentation is real positive, and we want to go to the next step, then we can go to Connecticut and see the operation.
I think that's a good idea. Is there a reason this can't just come in an email from me? Is
I'm sorry.
there a reason why this couldn't just come from in an email from me?
Yeah, why not?
I'm also happy sending it on behalf of the commission. Like,
Yes,
in a
yes,
formal,
absolutely.
it just feels very formal. And maybe that's okay. I mean, it's up to the commission.
I think you could just email.
Yeah.
I love the wording better.
Okay.
Good words.
Yep.
wordsmithing and herding cats, they're my two greatest things.
Okay, so Great.
What is it, for Wednesday?
4th.
And the letter to Toyota, what do you guys think of? I mean, it maybe just to find out whether there, there would be, it's possible for them to lease the autos, just, an informative request, whether they would be able to lease, what do you guys think about that?
I mean, I think I could write a similar note to Toyota, well, do we have a person at Toyota? We're just sending this to the main Toyota HQ, that's gonna end up. That's gonna end up with no response. I mean, I could reach out to our local Toyota dealership and say, hey, we're exploring hydrogen. Do you have hydrogen vehicles and would you be willing to talk to us?
Yes, that's a good beginning. Great beginning.
I mean, are we that far though?
I'm sorry?
You should meet with the other
Proton first, maybe they would be able to.
I think we'll meet with Proton first and then we can figure out the vehicle part second.
Okay.
Folks?
Yeah, I think that's
Very
a.
logical.
Kevin, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine with me.
All
And just as a reminder, Hyundai was in the mix at some point, and then
Yes, Hyundai is also, they also do hydrogen fuel cell automobiles. They have it.
Yeah, they popped up in the Czech Republic, I think I mentioned on the last meeting, so I don't know if they're working with Proton anymore.
And the Hyundai and Toyota dealer is right in the same location.
Okay, so I will take the language that Emily and Kevin and Roberto put together, and I'll invite Proton to a future meeting. And then at that meeting, we'll also just mention, are there specific vehicles that are made by specific manufacturers that apply? Do you recommend that we speak with them directly? And then we can figure out if bringing in Toyota and Hyundai is a good idea. Does that work?
It works.
Everyone okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Emily, you'll send that?
Yeah, I'm gonna send it out
Okay,
right
that's a
now.
good job.
Thank you.
Like we're doing that on the run like that?
Yeah, let's just get it done while we're all here together.
All right,
And I'll go
excellent.
home.
Anything else, Roberto, on hydrogen or Kevin or anyone?
The only other thing is that when I'm ready and I'm able to, I want to come in and do the demonstration I've been promising.
That sounds good.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for continuing to push this forward.
All right, moving on to education and workforce opportunities and green jobs. Anyone have anything on that?
There is gonna be a Westchester County job fair on November 19th. Yeah, that's not really Kingston. Oh, and this is like tangentially related, I guess, to that agenda item. But, since Cal left MICP, I've been spending a little bit of time on workforce development with the Mid-Hudson Hub while we search for somebody else. And I actually had a meeting with Michael Helm from New Yorkers for Cool Refrigerant Management yesterday, I think that was, with Colin from CCE. And there's this like refrigerant management training thing that Michael Helm has found, and he wants to explore bringing to the local area, at least the Hudson Valley. They hold these summits where they have training for refrigerants. And then within that conversation, he asked about the funding that the grant Kingston submitted for the refrigerant program.
Yeah.
And if it included workforce development, and if not, he wanted to talk.
It includes hiring a contractor. Does not include any other specific workforce development. It does set aside funding to hire a contractor to do the work for us.
Okay. Well, he's interested in connecting if you want.
Okay, yeah, please.
And, okay. And then I'll let you all know if we end up moving forward with that summit. He also talked about the refrigerant drive. And he said that they may be phasing that out because Hudson Technologies was helping them collect the refrigerants, and they're not receiving enough to actually come out to these events. So they actually stepped back from that, found another company somewhere else, I think they're from New Jersey. And they cart the refrigerants away, and they, except if they're large, like refrigerators. And so there's not really a push, I think, for the workforce development component to have BOCES come out if the refrigerants aren't even gonna be captured at the event. So this is kind of workforce related, but he also doesn't know with the whole, whatever bill was passed, the appliance and efficiency, what is it called? RPA, I wrote it down somewhere. There's some bill that was passed that may have municipalities have to plan for refrigerant management in the next 2 years, and so
Not instead of producer responsibility.
I think that
That hasn't been passed.
instead of pass. Anyways, he doesn't know if there's gonna be any more refrigerant management drives. So, yeah, he just had one in Warwick and it was not well attended, and again, the company carted the stuff away, so.
I feel like we need to have an alternative. I feel like we've now set a precedent.
But if the city is moving towards a amnesty program with the grant, right,
Yeah.
that you're applying for, then it would be phased out here as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the bottom line is whether or not it's called a drive and is part of a larger thing, we will still be collecting
Yes,
things at their fair.
oh, okay. Okay,
Or
Well, then
if you
maybe-
want to connect them up to me, that'd be great.
yes, I will.
Okay, anyone else have other green job stuff? All right, sustainable mobility and land use, fleet transition, there's no change from last meeting. EV infrastructure, there's no change from last meeting. Bike share, I have no information on. I keep putting it on here, but I don't, sort of expecting that something's just gonna pop up. I don't know, I have no, unless somebody wants to take action, I don't know if that was going on with the bike share thing.
I forget what, I thought that was, things were sort of underway, but
What does underway mean to you?
I don't know. Real things, to be honest with them. But what is the holdup?
I have no idea. I have not been managing the bike share legislation, that was moved over to a different department, so I can check in with Emily Flynn.
Okay.
I will do that. Community preservation plan, hopefully you all got this mailer from Kingston Land
Yeah.
Trust.
How do I get on the mailing list?
You live in
I
Kingston?
live in Kingston.
Well, let me check your mail.
Wow, they sent one to everybody in the whole
Oh, no,
town?
you know what, it wasn't EDDM, was it?
No, I don't think they did. I
Oh.
wasn't involved
I didn't
with that aspect of it, but
I don't think I
You
know.
might
I
have
think
to
they
be,
sent out 4,000 of them, but don't quote me on that.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did a modified universe of,
Homeowners?
likely
There's
voters.
something like.
I am a like, I am
I'm
a
like the
voter.
voter.
Did you get
I
one?
hope I didn't instinctively just see voters.
Maybe,
I did.
it might be
Got the
in,
mail today.
oh, okay, and yeah.
I got it yesterday.
Maybe it's in Andrew's
I'll put you down.
Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle's one who always gets the mail at our house, so if I happen to randomly see it.
Yeah, so I mean, but it wasn't easy, it wasn't every door direct mail, so it was, they chose who to send it to.
I think I have these digitized.
Maybe they know not to waste their money.
So is this something that we should be doing public education around, like posting on the Climate Smart Kingston, but Facebook and sending out to that list of however many people?
Climate Smart Kingston cannot do any advocacy,
lobby
nor
for it.
can I.
Even though it's
Yeah.
not like for a particular candidate?
It's for it's for convincing people of a way to vote, we cannot do that. If you choose on your own to do so, you can, and there are, almost everyone in CAC is actively working to
I
help
got
on
something
that.
from Emily about it.
Can we educate on what Prop 4 is?
We can post about what Prop 4 is, and actually, we can, there's language at Engage Kingston. We cannot say how people should
That's
vote.
like reminder.
We could say to flip over the ballot, and we could say to vote. We can't say how people should vote.
Similar to the thing where I put the post up about that common council meeting about the pipeline, and I just said like, have your voice included
Yes,
show
so
up.
Climate Smart absolutely can be posting about reminding people about the vote. But we shouldn't even be advertising really but you can direct people to engagekingston.com/community.
Reservekingston.vote.
No, that's the Land Trust website.
Okay.
It's not actually the land trust, we set up a separate, organization for it, because the land trust has the
Yeah, that
same
doesn't-
problem.
our-
We can't advocate to any great extent.
Our post should say to direct people to engagekingston.com/community-preservation-plan.
Maybe you can email that link or something.
That's yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I have those digitized, so turn them out.
So early voting is starting this weekend, I believe, 26th, just so. I do expect that, well, I don't know what's going to happen with community preservation plan. But I will say that, since the last meeting, the mayor and myself have gone to the common council along with Scenic Hudson to request authorization to purchase 70 acres of open space, the largest last tract of open space. By a private, 7 parcels owned by one landowner, and it's called Kingston Wilderness. And should they approve that, that would be the first property that would be able to be paid for by the Community Preservation Fund if the Community Preservation Fund goes into effect.
Cool.
Scenic Hudson is seeking approvals to pay half. And so the total asking price, negotiated contract price, which has not been fully executed yet, is $880,000 for 70 acres. And it would be basically all of the open space land between Wilbur Avenue and the city line. So a lot, and it butts to the Mason Hill property, and then it butts to Rodney Street and Beale Street. So between the Mason Hill property, which is the land trust property, to the north or to the west, and then Rodney Street, which is just off of Wilbur Avenue, and Beale Street, is all of that, almost all of it. Some of it is separately held, but the lion's share of it. So that is one example of what could be paid for with community preservation plan.
Is that currently town's land or is it private?
Private.
So the city would be buying it from the private owner.
Correct.
Survey.
5 parcels are in the city, 2 parcels are in the town of Ulster. So this would also be the first time the city would be buying conservation land from another, well, I don't know, maybe just in West Stock that we own, so I can't really say that. But we would be also, the proposal is also to buy 2 parcels in the town of Ulster. So, flip over the ballot, vote how you like, flip it over.
What was the Engage Kingston website?
.com
Yeah.
/Kingston-preservation-plan. All right, moving on. Just an update on our open space plan. So I have an intern who finished his internship recently. He's from Bard, and Brendan Walsh. It's amazing. He is actually continuing on with me, doing his master's thesis. But one of the things I had him do was to put together our progress on the open space plan. And so we've updated our city's website at kingston-ny.gov/NRI, which is our natural resources inventory page. But as a whole, just so you know where we are toward our open space plan goals, we had goals for 2030. One of our goals was to plant 1,000 new trees. We've planted 362, so we're 36% of the way there.
How many trees?
362. We said that we wanted to create 5,000 additional linear feet of public water access along the Hudson, and we have created 5,808 feet. So we are 116% of the way towards that, done. That was thanks to the Sojourner Truth State Park. 500 additional acres of permanently protected lands in the uplands along the Hudson. We're at 332, so 60% of the 67% of the way towards that one. That's also Sojourner Truth State Park. 5,000 additional feet of public access on the Roundup. We are 0% of the way there. 60 additional acres of permanently protected lands in the Rondout uplands. We're already at 70, and I have 70 more in the queue, so we're already at 117% of that. Done. 2,500 linear feet of compromised urban stream corridor restored to a more natural condition. 0. 10 new community gardens. 0. 50 additional acres of farmland protected along the Esopus. 0. 1 new park in Midtown. 100%. The post office park is a new park in Midtown. And 5 additional miles of green trails added. We're at 5.81 miles, so 116%. So there are quite a few things that we are doing great on and quite a few things that we still need to work on, but it is only 2024 and we have till 2030 to accomplish these goals. As a whole, you can find out all of that information at kingston-ny.gov/NRI. All right, moving on to managing resources sustainably, Kingston Organics. Just an update, and I mentioned this to CAC as well. One of the other roles that this intern played was to clean up my data set for Kingston Organics. I think I mentioned that quite a few people didn't come and pick up their packet, and so I didn't know whether to count them or not. So we went through a months-long rigorous process to get a hold of people who haven't picked up their packets and either keep them enrolled or unenroll them. And in that process, we now have a clean set of participation, which ultimately has reduced our numbers, but it is now accurate. So we now have 508 families, 957 people. Sorry, that was weird. 508 families, 957 people. And we have diverted 42.33 tons of food so far. The food systems policy is, as I think I mentioned at the last meeting, went back in draft form for some further reiterations on the city staff level. So that is still being reviewed, and I don't have any other updates on presenting that as a draft form anytime soon, but you can always check out Engage Kingston for the food systems policy updates. Extended producer responsibility. I don't have something specifically on that act because I don't have more information, but I will say that I got a cold call from a company called Green Sheen. And Green Sheen is a company that is contracted by a subcontractor of Paint Care, who is contracted by the state, because the state has a paint recycling legislation. And this group, Green Sheen, which is a private organization, private company, they offer paint recycling events where they come with 3 tractor trailer loads of 3 empty tractor trailers, and they set up for 4 hours, and they do all the advertising, they pay for everything, and they bring 100 cones, tables, 30 volunteers that they pay $20 an hour, and not volunteers, 30 staff, 30 people that they pay $20 an hour, and they do paint recycling. And they said that generally they get 500 to 600 cars per event, and they expect that for a community our size, they would have 1,200 cars
For paint?
for paint.
That's interesting. Well, that could be a fun thing to do.
So when they first proposed it to me, without any of the data that I just said, when they said, we're going to do a paint collection, I was like, let's do it at the Earth Fair. And then I got all this information about, like, they need a runway that can hold 30 cars off the road. There's going to be 2 tractor trailers.
But we could promote it at the Earth Fair.
So
After Earth Fair.
I actually am not ruling out doing it at the Earth Fair.
No. That sounds like no.
In the road.
In the road?
In the road.
Do they sell it? What do
I don't know what's there.
But what about all the traffic? How are people gonna actually come to the fair if there's something in the car?
I don't,
You guys think it's a terrible idea?
I wouldn't say terrible, I don't suggest it.
maybe be in off-site, in a different
It's
site.
already, because we're are we still having it at the waterfront?
Yes.
Because of that whole situation where if you have to go down and go back up,
And all the
you
traffic.
know, and the trolley was going, this, you know, a lot going on over there.
I understand all that.
I was just getting nervous, like, if a kid kicked something outside of the boundaries of the kids section, it was like, stay in the section, you know?
Yeah, I haven't talked to the mayor about it yet, and I'm sure he'll say, I didn't let you close the road, so why did I let you do this in the middle of the road? But, by the way, for anyone who wants to ditch or be a volunteer, if we do, whenever we do it, and wants to look for them, they pay random people $20 an hour, cash on site.
All right, yeah, I'll do that.
And all you have to do is stand, and people don't get out of their car, they said it takes 39 seconds to offload
Wow.
your average time.
What?
39 seconds, because the people don't get out of the car, it's basically like, it's like drive through Hanford.
Yeah.
If we can partner with another business, like Old Savannah wants to host a paint drive or something, or like the, I don't know, the trolley museum, and then we use their lot, that's not in the.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that still need to be figured out, it would obviously be next year. Next year, it would be between April and October of next year sometime. I was like, what do you get out of this? They said that we get paid by the state. It costs $0 to us. It's like, he said it's like $20,000 value to us. And he said that they just did one in Glens Falls, they had 800 cars. They just did one in Rensselaer County, they had 600 cars. So automatically, I'm like, okay, well then these people will come to our event. But he said, don't expect that that's the case. You're mostly going to get people that will come immediately, right as the time starts. They'll have a garage full of paint, just want to get the paint out of the garage and move on with their day. So,
Where does the paint go?
Do they use it? Do they use it to create their paint just on their website?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that
it's on their
like,
website,
it's called Green Sheen,
yeah.
green sheet.
Exactly.
Machine.
Green Sheen,
So
S-H.
they recycle the paint,
Yeah, they recycle.
even if it's scrappy?
Well, I don't know for sure, I'm just looking at their website and it sounds.
And he said
like-
there's no limit, they've had people bring truckloads of paint. And if you have more than 100 gallons total, it doesn't have to be 100 containers, just 100 gallons worth of paint. They will come to your location and pick it up for free.
I feel like this is a good opportunity for like a business partnership with Herzog.
Well, that is,
Herzog take paint?
Yeah.
that was my backup plan.
Because we-
Actually, my backup plan was the
That's my
transfer
next
station,
issue.
which I actually find. The backup plan, which Herzog's doesn't know yet, is to do it in Herzog's parking lot.
Well, I was just thinking, what if we just pick a huge parking lot in Kingston?
We could do it in the
Just host it
plaza
there.
parking lot if they would let us. When you go down towards the plaza on the right-hand side by the ball field.
Yeah.
There's also like, it's
And
not the
Herzog's
nicest
could-
parking lot, but the one by the soccer fields off of Ulster Ave,
That's not also.
that's not Ulster.
No, we could also,
Because no one's really ever there,
Yeah.
except for soccer games.
Yeah, that's not also though.
I know that plaza isn't anywhere near as exciting as the Rondout, but it could be a site for the Earth Day Fair.
At the plaza.
Could be fun,
People use it a lot when we get
yeah, especially now there's a dispensary.
All right, well,
Five times.
we're not planning Earth Fair yet, but these are good, this is a good discussion. I just want to let you all know that it's on the radar.
Cool.
Yeah, we could do it for the Earth Fair and say like, park your car at the plaza, take your paint, and then take the shuttle over to the
Yeah.
fair.
We
Like,
just
there's a
have to
way
have
to do it.
people. The reason why I wanted to do it at the Earth Fair is for two reasons. One, we already have set precedent for it being a recycling collection event. The second is I am trying to make my life easier, and so having another
That's all
event
it
is
is.
less easy than
Yeah.
having it at an existing event.
One of the things we like to do at the Earth Fair is ask people not to drive, right? To take that bus in.
Yeah,
What about the location where they get on the bus?
that's what she's saying.
Oh, that's what you're saying?
Yeah,
At the plaza or
at the
anywhere else.
plaza.
Yeah, but I thought that.
I just said
All right, well, this is food for
Great
thought.
minds think alike, yes.
Food for thought, but just putting it on your radar that I've had the initial
What about, like, the
conversation.
Okay, just another parking lot idea
Yeah.
that maybe doesn't get as filled up is like the, New Vans.
Oh, yeah.
At the mall.
Yeah.
That's not,
That's
Oh.
not Kingston either?
It's Ulster.
Sorry.
Plaza has its own
There's
website.
just so many parking lots over there, but I guess they're
Yes.
all town of Ulster. So
Yeah.
it's like a but.
All right, so keep that on your radar, keep thinking about it. Check out Green Sheen's website. All right, the rest is gonna go fast. I don't have any updates for Kingston Point Park improvements. I don't have any Kingston Point Beach, New York Swims. I'm in contracting phase with them.
It's New York Swims.
New York Swims is, I got a $4 million grant to redo Kingston Point Beach so that it is around in perpetuity.
Yeah.
We are terracing it.
Nice.
The raise grant is still in contracting, so there's no updates there. The comprehensive emergency management plan was presented to the common council for approval by myself on, are you trying to get it?
Yeah, that's me.
A couple days ago, and the Laws and Rules Committee approved the comprehensive emergency management plan, and now it goes to full council in November. I don't expect there to be any issues. That means we'll now have a plan in place for how to formally and officially, comprehensively address emergency management in the city. And the North Street demos is still in the contracting phase, so there's no movement on that either. I have no new business. I don't know if there's an update from Ulster County Climate Smart Committee.
No, we didn't have our meeting last month. There's a meeting on this coming Monday.
Okay. Are there any announcements, communications, events, or updates?
Well, there is gonna be another solar mapping workshop. I'm not facilitating it. Manager Green and Peter McKnight are. I will be attending the one session where I explain the tool and the resources, kind of like pulling all together just the one night. And promotion go up soon, so I think it starts in November.
I already saw something go out.
Oh, I didn't get them.
I got today from from the county, Elizabeth.
Okay.
Great.
You
Yeah.
sent out the thing about, I guess next week, the county's presenting the climate.
The climate action plan.
Climate action plan.
Yep. Any other announcements?
Oh, and Haya is gonna be officially taking over the socials. We
Yeah.
met,
Oh,
we talked. She has the
Thank you.
Facebook
Yes, thank you.
admin credentials.
That's why I joined, so I could share with you.
So send anything, oh, and I want to clarify, like, we vote on a bunch of things here to post, but then we can also just post on our own,
Yeah, as long as you're not,
as long as it's not like lobbying or.
yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So send her stuff if you.
If I'm ever unsure, I will
yes,
get a gut check.
$5 to vote
Gotcha.
yes.
yes.
Okay,
For
so that's
everybody.
the language. You will receive $5 cash.
Yeah, also, so Kyle McIntosh is that random other name that you guys had found on there.
Yeah,
He's the city's IT director.
oh, cool.
He views everything, so if he sees something that's inappropriate, he'll take it down.
Okay.
Share my screen.
Yep.
Are we in the social media part?
Yep.
I want to get your guys' approval.
And before we close, we do need to decide the November and December meetings.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right, this will take, this should be pretty quickly. All right. So,
This is great. I love how you did this.
Wow.
You share this with me. I like this format.
oh, thank you, yes, I will. Okay, so I'm thinking about this week, we'll post a reminder about the Kingston Flair Cafe. But I think that we should lead with like the cool, like sewing repairs here. And then followed by like the flyer that's already on the website. So it's kind of like it's a reminder post.
No, just a note, didn't that flyer say we have welders and you said there's no welders?
Well, flyers, we have welders.
The one that you circulated the first and second time.
No, I probably took it out.
Yeah, this one is what's on our Facebook page right now.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't mention.
Oh, you know what?
That's
Maybe
a little
when I saw the
bit-
word wooden, I thought it said welding.
It usually does in that area.
In that area, okay, then I was just thinking different, okay, sorry about that.
Okay. These are suggestions I have for potential posts and potential vibes. based on topic, like our agenda topics. So like youth engagement, talk about, you talked about the environmental education program.
Yep.
Is that something we could post about? And
Not yet.
not yet, okay, so table that. I thought it would be cool to do something about battery storage. So like each post would have a call to action.
Oh, you could post about day in the life. It would be after the fact.
Okay, so it would be, yeah, it would sort of be like, day in the life would be like the appeal. But it needs to also sort of be like forward facing, like what's next. I don't
The
just wanna
forward
say
facing would be
You missed
teachers
it.
can register,
teachers, okay,
but you need to get that information from Casey, my colleague.
okay.
So do you have her email?
Nope.
Kay, C. Keegan.
Teachers should register, share with teachers. Who was it?
Casey Keegan Twombly, K C K E E G A N,
KC,
K E E G A
Like
N.
Kate, not Casey, like C.
I can just
That was
email you the contact
K.
info right now.
yes, please, thank you.
Okay.
KC.
Just write Casey, yeah.
Okay, fine. All right, so I was thinking to do something around battery storage under the like inspiring innovation type thing. Sort of like preparing the public for, the battery storage that we talked about. So it would just be an educational post. And I think I would run this by you, right? Because you guys don't know this in my head, but I could give you a visual of what this could look like and get your approval.
We're also having an event on November 15th to help explain an online event to help explain the state's energy plan.
Ooh,
Comments are due November 25th, so we're gonna have someone who was on the climate action, a couple people who are on the climate action council.
Okay.
Talking about that.
Do you have the thing on here about our event on the ninth?
No,
Yeah, we're going to do that.
November 9th. Monday. Okay. I thought we could do something about 1,000 trees by 2030.
Sure.
That's fun.
And so you can also announce that we have a full-time urban forester.
Ooh.
Wow,
We do.
that's so
Impressive.
cool. Do a profile.
And actually, if you just Google, if you look under the archived mayor's, if you go onto the city's website and look at the archives, you'll probably see some kind of press release that someone put out about that.
Okay.
Pull some language from there.
Cool. And then the solar mapping workshop. Okay.
It's great.
So maybe for the first couple times, I will send a group email about the posts and wait for some feedback.
What are you going to look for from us? Because what if you get,
I think you should do
Radio
one
silence.
person,
Oh, okay.
like Julie or.
yeah, I don't
Maybe
think,
I can run it by you, Julia.
that's fine.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Awesome, super awesome, actually. All right, so next two meetings. Everyone bring out your calendars, if you will, please.
Read it in November, except maybe the 27th, but I bet anyone else wants that.
Yeah, that's the problem.
What about the 20th?
That's what I was thinking. Can we just do the third Wednesday? Does that work for people?
You might have the land trust.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You have.
That's usually on the third one. Depending upon the time, I can always set up 2 laptops and keep the minutes.
Oh.
Done that before.
But that doesn't make it right.
No, but I've done,
But what time is that meeting?
hasn't been announced, but typically it's at 6:30 or 6.
The Thursday? I know it's not Wednesday.
Thursday the 21st?
I could do Thursday the 14th, but not.
We could just skip November.
No, I mean, okay.
Or what about Tuesday the 19th?
I don't think we should skip.
I can't do, oh, I can do Tuesday, the 19th.
Tuesday, the
I can't do
19th
that.
is a big Clean Energy Career Summit in Westchester.
Oh, did we want to put that on? the
Yeah, I thought you had it.
I think I did.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, I just passed over. Okay, so I'll reach out to you.
Yes, I have a flyer.
Okay.
What about Monday, the 25th?
I can't do that.
I can't do that whole week.
Okay.
About Monday, the 18th.
I can do the 18th.
I can do it, but that'll be annoying. But
It's
I
from
can
the
do
girl who wants to have the meeting.
Yeah,
yeah.
I can do the 18th.
I can do the 18th.
I can do the 18th.
Oh, wait, what am I talking about? We start at 5? I can't do.
We're not gonna always have 100% of the people. We need to find the meeting, the day that most people can do, even if it's
Is Wednesday still, let's do it Wednesday, and Kevin might just not be able to join. Someone else.
We need
Kevin.
We need
Hey,
Kevin.
Kevin.
Nice to have Kevin.
I don't do that much.
Yeah, you do.
So-
You do a
Take
lot.
excellent minutes.
Excellent.
I know, despite like hunting and pecking, right? Amazing.
If someone else is willing to take minutes.
Did we say the 21st, Thursday is no good?
Oh, I can just,
I can do
the 21st.
I can do the
got mixed
21st.
up.
I could do the 21st.
Yeah, I would just have to leave a little early.
21st?
Roberto? The
I'm good.
21st? Yes,
21st.
November 21st.
Right.
Okay. December?
Not the fourth Wednesday.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's,
I can
That's
do,
Hanukkah and Christmas. Yo,
It's a big year.
that's great.
I can do any of the days the week before.
Next day.
Today.
should we do the same thing, try for the 19th?
And Kwanzaa begins the next day.
Oh my gosh, so beautiful. I can do the 19th. 19th.
I can do the 19th.
I suppose I can do the 19th too.
December.
I'm taking the Christmas party on the 19th.
What'd you
Is the
say?
18th better?
Taking vacation.
You were thinking about it?
Oh, the 19th? I just realized. What do you guys?
Well, Kevin,
You
you
take
have,
vacation.
Yeah, they have it in there.
They're all out.
They have meetings every
Yeah.
Okay,
other.
what about the 17th?
I don't have quorum, we find it in advance.
17th?
We all go on vacation.
The what?
17th.
I can do the
A
17th.
Sunday?
No, it's
It's a
the
Tuesday.
No,
Oh, the Tuesday, sorry.
Yeah,
Guys,
it's
it's late, we need to go
17th.
home.
Yes, do we have quorum on the 17th, December 17th?
I'm not sure. I'll be here.
I can do it.
Melissa might be on vacation.
It's one out. Anyone else?
I can do it.
Everyone else is a yes? Roberto, can you do December 17th?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
Would you all prefer the 17th or the 19th?
Probably the 17th.
December 17th. All right, is there any other business? If not, we need a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Karen, can I get a second?
Second.
Kevin, all in favor? Anyone opposed? 7:36. Thank you very much, everyone.
So I did hear back from my old colleague. in
Thanks,
Massachusetts.
Roberto.
Let's hope for the best for the 5th.
School enforcement in Bailey.
Good night, Julie.
Good night.
Do Bailey and Bridgewater.
Thank you, everyone.